Well, that's never fun. Yeah, the game finished about an hour or so ago at this time, and it's something that's going to happen, but it's never fun to watch. Big blowout loss to the Green Bay Packers. Obviously, some of our better players, Matt Hasselbeck, Walter Jones, and Sean Locklear, never got on the field. And you saw part of the fallout of that is the extremely good Green Bay pass rush, which I have heralded in previous videos. KGB and Colin Jenkins and Aaron Campman. Very nice pass rush they got there. They ate it up. I mean, I have been against Ashworth since basically day one. Ever since I saw him play, he looks like a matador out there, and he was just letting them pass rushers get by, leaving Wallace completely open. Nasty stuff. I mean, Wallace, you got to blame him for those fumbles, but it's not his fault he's getting hit. I mean, you saw A.J. Hawk blow out Leonard Weaver. That's just not supposed to happen. I know Weaver's young, but he's got to get that figured out. Can't have fullbacks in our system doing stuff like that. There was just pressure coming in left and right, led to turnovers and defensive touchdowns. We had a tough time moving the ball. Very hard to get things started. All in all, I mean, you try and drop back, there are people in the backfield. You try and run the ball, there are people in the backfield, and really from that, it's hard to get much of anything started. Even when the backups came in, I can't say I was too happy with how David Green played. I guess he was under quite a bit of duress, but he did not play well. He's entering his third year now, so we're looking for some signs of life from the guy, but he's not shown it. That said, defensively we looked a little weak, gave up quite a bit in the run game and the pass game. Had a hard time forcing turnovers or stopping the other team from scoring. However, that said, I am happy with how Darryl Tapp looks. Another sack and a forced fumble today, making for 3 sacks and 2 forced fumbles on the preseason. Brandon McBain also made at least one, maybe a couple more nice plays. So the defensive line is looking a little good. I mean, it looks like it's coming along. Hopefully Marcus Tubbs can get back on the field. We saw a couple of interceptions from our secondary actually late in the game. Meaningless, but it might make the difference for a player like Pete Hunter, who's on the roster bubble. Once again, Darryl Tapp, one of the high points of this game. I saw him getting some nice pressure. Patrick Kearney, I was also happy with how he did. I'm still a little skeptical about Kearney, but he played well today. And, there's not a lot good to be taken from this game. Josh Brown did a nice enough job. But really, those were the only players that I was particularly impressed with. Just not an impressive showing all around. Ashworth and Willis are probably the turkeys of the game, in my opinion. But I'm looking to move past it. Preseason, it's going to happen. Next week we got Minnesota, so let's try and get back on track. Minnesota's impressed me so far this preseason, so it might be a better matchup than I give it credit for. But enough about that. Around the league, I saw Houston, Arizona. At least I saw most of it. Big ups to both young quarterbacks, Matt Schaub and Matt Leinart. Both played very well. I was impressed by both of them. I'm not too high on either of them, I'll admit, but nice job. You can see Leinart already loving throwing to that oversized wide receiver he has in Larry Fitzgerald. Edge looked a little more alive than I've seen him in a while. Houston wins 33-20. Looks like they've got a legitimate number 2 wide receiver now in Jacoby Jones. So that's obviously an important thing since they did not have that number 2 to Andre Johnson in the past, and now perhaps they can get that legitimate threat. And the receiver for the Arizona Cardinals, Merritt, I believe his name is, broke his ankle. Nasty. From a football perspective, the Cardinals will be able to move on. They have enough receiver depth, but a nasty injury to a talented player who was having a good game to that point. Detroit-Cleveland. Detroit once again passing the ball quite well, all in all. Also forcing some crucial turnovers of the Browns. You can attribute that to bad play on the part of Fry and Anderson, but Detroit has to be pretty happy with how things are coming along. But the big story of the game to me is Brady Quinn. Big ups to the Quinn man. 2 touchdowns, a good amount of yardage, nice completion percentage. Just a pretty good game on his part. Let me see here. Can't help but notice that Calvin Johnson didn't get involved in the receiving game, and that's kind of, unfortunate, since I am a fan of the guy, tons of talent, but yeah, there you go, Detroit 2-0, passing the ball quite well. New Orleans, Cincinnati, McAllister and Bush coming alive. Took them 3 games to really get on track, but they looked mighty nice, beating the Bengals 27-19. Did a good job holding down the vaunted Cincinnati offense for the most part. Pretty impressive. Breeze was perfect in the short amount of time he was given to play. We saw a nice 3-headed rushing attack from Pittman, McAllister, and Bush. We might be seeing a lot more of that this season, if you ask me. I liked what I saw. Good pressure by Cincinnati all around. That's the one part of their defense I do like. So, big ups to that. Tampa Bay, Jacksonville. I was watching the stats on the early part of this game. Jacksonville was kind of having a hard time getting things started, and god damn it, Cadillac Williams struggling. I need this guy to do something. I hate to be one of those guys, but he's on my fantasy team, man. I need him to show me some signs of life. Pretty good, pretty good offensive play from Jacksonville that came alive later in the game. I don't find either of these teams terribly interesting outside of the Jacksonville defense, which did play quite well. Gotta love Hender Stroud and Mike Peterson. Garcia, I suppose, was conservatively good, so good sign for him. Denver, Dallas, and let me just say this, ouch. Travis Henry and Ebenezer Ekuban go down with injuries, and if Henry misses considerable time, you might just want to count the Broncos out of that AFC West race. If he comes back, this team is capable of going to the Super Bowl. I'm not saying they will, but they are capable. But if they don't have Travis Henry, it's nothing shaken. Cutler just played all right. Ramsey actually came in and did pretty well as far as backups go. The Denver defense could not stop the run at all. Pretty humiliating for them. But Dre Bly did finally do a little bit of something. Picked off Romo once. I believe he forced a fumble. Might have been somebody else. But good show by Dre Bly. One of the few happy points of this game. Just not a lot of good stuff to talk about here. Dallas side of things, they have to be happy with the running game. Bobby Carpenter getting involved, and you saw Isaiah Stanback, guy I'm repping this year, Husky. Gotta do it. And at the touchdown, should be a nice utility player for them. San Diego, St. Louis, you saw Michael Turner do a pretty solid job all around. Once again, you're thinking TNT is going to just explode this year. Tomlinson, Turner, and Neal. Rivers got a little more playing time this week. Did really well. So did Billy Volek. Pushing around this St. Louis defense that seems to be weak once again. Nice punt return by Darren Sproles, obviously. They're going to look for a lot more of that from him. Lots of turnovers by the Rams offense, which is something they cannot have. They fumbled the ball a couple of times and threw some interceptions, so got to get that worked out. And is it just me, or has Merriman been invisible this preseason, or is he not playing? I'm not sure. Final injury of the preseason to this point, Jason Campbell gets hit in the leg, I believe it was, and he's going to be out the rest of the preseason. And if this bleeds into the regular season, this is just one more strike against Washington. I can't say it's looking too good for them right now. Pittsburgh looked good. Roethlisberger was once again kind of conservative, didn't do a ton, but he was impressive. 8 of 12 for 87 yards. Willie Parker got his first action, didn't do much, but he's going to show up in the regular season. Santonio Holmes with some nice plays, and that's about all I got to say. So, see ya.